right, good evening, Mr. Omatick. I'm Gretchen Moore, I represent the township in this matter, as you know. You applied for a zoning permit on August 8th, 2019 from Cecil Township to convert a mobile home into a storage area.
At the time, that's what I thought it was going to be.
Okay, let's take a look at that. That's Exhibit 5.
5?
Yes. Okay, so the date of this application is August 8, 2019, correct? Okay, and I think I just heard you say, as of that date, that's what you thought you were going to be utilizing the trailer for, storage?
Yes.
Okay, and this is, while it says Cecil Township Construction Permit Application, the zoning officer explained to you that this is the form that is utilized for zoning permits, correct? So you were getting a zoning permit?
I don't know that.
Okay. Okay, and it says under the structures and or alterations to be used, you state storage, converting mobile home into storage area, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and you signed off on that. At the bottom, is that your signature? Okay. And again, that was August 7, 2019.
August 8th.
Okay. And you didn't seek a zoning permit for a residential occupied structure on your property?
Didn't know I needed one.
You didn't seek a zoning permit for a residential occupied structure, correct? Okay. You received the zoning permit for the storage area, right?
Right.
And the township zoning officer sent you a letter on August 21, 2019, a couple weeks after you got that permit, correct? We can look at Exhibit 6, please. Excuse me. Okay. And the Cecil Township zoning officer told you at that time, which was just a couple weeks after you got your permit, that you couldn't have a second occupied structure on your R1 parcel, correct?
That's what it says here.
Yeah, we can take a look at that one first. Okay, she explains to you that she issued the permit for converting a mobile home into a storage area, correct? Okay, but that you couldn't have an occupied residential structure on that same parcel.
Correct.
Okay, so she informed you of this fact early on, right after issuing you the zoning permit.
Well, at the time, it wasn't planning on being there.
Okay, we'll get there, but she told you early on. She conveyed this information to you, and she also explained this issue of split zoning across the parcel. And under a split zoning parcel, as she tells you very clearly here, she cites to the UDO, that when you have a parcel that's split zoned, each particular portion of the parcel is subject to the zoning under which it exists. So you knew that information at this time?
I'm reading it here.
Okay, and you received this letter?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So I think you were talking earlier in your testimony that you have this one parcel, and you explained that you had a trailer park
On the one portion.
on part of it. That trailer park exists in the R4 section, does it not?
Well, to me, it's one portion.
That's fine if that's your understanding, but the parcel itself, is a split parcel, correct?
No.
Okay. And part of your parcel is zoned R4. You know that, right?
No, yeah.
Okay. And you understand that in the R4 parcel, you're allowed to have a trailer park in that particular zoning district.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. But in the R1, you understand, and Ms. Ross told you in her letter, that you can't have a second occupied residential structure on the same lot in the R1 district unless you subdivide.
Right.
Okay, and that's why we're here today. Okay, now you received another notice from the Township Zoning Officer on May 12, 2020. And let's look at Exhibit 7, please. So this is not quite a year later. Have you had a moment to look at Exhibit 7?
Recognize the letter.
Okay. And did you receive this letter, Mr. Omatick?
Yes.
Okay, and this is a notice of violation, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and you were told at this time, on May 12th, 2020, that the zoning officer had information and evidence to demonstrate that this structure was an occupied structure, a second residential property.
No one was living there.
Okay, well, that's what she told you in this letter. That's why you received a notice of violation.
I don't know how they find, figure somebody was living there or nobody living there.
Okay, my question is just, you received a notice of violation for that reason. Is that your understanding? Okay. And then you requested an extension of time to submit an application for a subdivision, correct?
Yes.
Okay, but you never actually applied for that subdivision, did you?
Not yet.
Okay. Instead, you started construction on that mobile home, correct?
I put a porch on it.
Okay, so you started construction on that home. Is that right?
I guess if you say it's construction, it's just a little porch.
Okay. Well, we can take a look at some of those pictures. If you look at Exhibit 11, Mr. Omatick, is that what you're referring to as the little porch?
Yeah, it is a little porch.
Okay. And that's a picture of the mobile home at issue, correct?
As it is, yes.
Okay. And you then received a letter from the zoning officer related to that construction, did you not?
Yes.
Let's look at Exhibit 9. It's a letter dated July 13, 2020. And this is a letter from the zoning officer to yourself.
Okay.
Did you receive this letter, Mr. Omatick? Okay. And the purpose of this letter was specifically related to the construction taking place at the property. And in more or less words, it tells you to cease and desist that construction.
Yes.
Okay. And did you stop construction on the property after receiving this letter?
Yes.
Now, I just want to be very clear for the record, Mr. Omatick, the mobile home at issue did not exist on the R1 section of your property before 2018, correct?
No, it did not.
It did not, okay.
I mean, it was on top of the hill. It was on my property.
It was in the trailer park area, which we all know now is zoned R4. Okay. So the only occupied structure on your property that sat in the R1 zoning district is your personal residence, correct? Now, you applied for something called a 10-acre permit exemption from the Washington County Sewage Council, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, and you applied for that in 2018, a year before you came to the township to apply for the zoning permit, correct?
That's, I don't have the date.
Okay, we can look at it, just so we're not talking in the abstract. That's Exhibit 4.
Okay.
Okay. And you understand that a 10-acre exemption is available to a landowner to own the property prior to 1987, or it was passed down to family. It's granting property to an immediate family member who intends to build a residence.
Okay.
Is that your understanding of the 10-acre exemption? Okay. So when you applied for the 10-acre exemption in 2018, a year before you came to the township for a zoning permit, let's look at the first page. It's a letter from yourself to the Washington County Sewage Council, and it's dated August 13, 2018. Is that your signature?
What exhibit are you referencing?
Exhibit 4, the first page.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay, so the first page is a cover letter from you to the Washington County Sewage Council, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and that's your signature?
Yes.
Okay. And in this letter, you're telling the Sewage Council that you, Jeffrey Omatick, request the 10-acre exemption from the Sewage Council for an accessory structure that will have some type of sewage facilities, right?
Correct?
Okay, that's what you tell them in the cover letter. Now let's look at the last page in Exhibit 4. It's loose. But this is the permit exemption worksheet,
Okay?
okay? And you had to fill out the permit exemption worksheet to get the permit, correct?
Yes?
And you filled this out, right? And was everything true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes?
Okay. And in this worksheet, the sewage council asks, will the on-lot septic system serve a residential structure? And you say yes, correct?
Well, to me, a structure is a structure.
Well, it's question number 2. So you said yes, that it would serve a residential structure, correct?
There, yes, yes, it does say that there.
Okay. And that's what you told the sewage council. You were conveying that information to the sewage council.
The lot says residential.
I'm sorry?
Residential lot, that's what it
Okay, then let's look at the next question. Will the residential structure be occupied by the property owner or a member of the property owner's immediate family? And you say yes, correct?
is. To me, a residential structure is a building.
Okay, but you go on to say that it will be occupied by a member of the property owner's immediate family or the property owner. Correct?
Yes.
Okay, and this information, as you said earlier, was true and accurate. This is the information you were conveying to the sewage council to obtain your permit.
Well, I don't remember when I decided, what date I decided to turn this into a residential property. I don't remember the proper date.
Okay, well, at the very least, you told the Washington County Sewage Council in 2018, and you answered yes, that this would be a residential structure, and that you or someone in your immediate family would live there and occupy it. And you told them that so you could get the permit, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so at least in 2018, you're telling the sewage council that you want to put in, you want an exemption, the 10-acre exemption, to put an on-lot sewage system in because an immediate family member is going to live there, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and you told them that in 2018, and then you came to the township a year later in 2019, and you told Ms. Ross, the zoning officer, that you needed a zoning permit for a storage facility, that you wanted to move this mobile home, and you wanted it to be storage on the R1 parcel.
Well, my intention was be there, not my daughter at the time.
I'm sorry, what was that, Mr. Omatick?
It was a place to do my woodworking and storage and everything else down there at the time. So that's, to me, a property's a property.
So at which time was it? You said it was supposed to be a wood shop?
Storage, wood shop, whatever, at the time.
At the time, you told Ms. Ross and applied for your zoning permit?
I don't remember that. It's 2 different dates. I don't know.
Well, you got your zoning permit from Cecil Township in 2019. And we'll just keep it with years for now. 2019, you went to the sewage council in 2018.
That's probably when I decided to move it.
Okay, in 2018, you went to the sewage council and you answered the question that this is for a residential structure that is going to be occupied. You answered those questions. And you're not sitting here today and saying those aren't truthful. That's how you answered the questions, right?
At the time, my daughter was supposed to move into my father's house. That all changed, so I decided to do that.
Okay, but my only point is that you told the Washington County Sewage Council in 2018 that it was going to be occupied, a residential structure that was going to be occupied. Right.